Mississippi is shedding its image as an economic laggard. Over the past 5 years, the state's economic output has grown more than it did over the previous 15 years combined. According to the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, Mississippi posted the second fastest per capita GDP growth and the fifth fastest personal income growth among all states in the last quarter of last year. Billions in capital investment have flowed in. This growth is happening across the state, from the Gulf Coast and the Pine Belt to DeSoto County, the Jackson metro area, and the university towns of Oxford and Starkville. Mississippi's recent growth is no accident. It's down to good public policy. Since 2022, Mississippi has implemented transformative tax cuts, reduced the state income tax, and lowered the grocery tax, and easing business inventory taxes. A 2021 law streamlining occupational licensing reduced barriers for workers and entrepreneurs, with the Mississippi Secretary of State reporting a 12% increase in new business registrations in 2023 alone. Energy in our state is affordable. Mississippi electricity rates averaging 14 cents per kilowatt hour, helping draw in energy-intensive industries, including 2 major data centers in Madison and Rankin counties. To top it all, Mississippi's public universities are fueling growth, and around Oxford and Starkville, we've got these amazing entrepreneurial ecosystems that are thriving. But to maintain this momentum, our state needs to abandon policymaking as usual and embrace bold reform. That's why the Mississippi Center for Public Policy has just launched a Mississippi Miracle, Bold Reforms for Growth. Our policy paper details practical steps to sustain and accelerate this momentum. We need to empower parents through school choice, let families use state funds for public, private, or homeschooling options to drive competition and elevate education standards. We need to refocus higher education. We need to cut administrative bloat, prioritize workforce-relevant programs, and redirect resources from low-value courses to practical, job-focused education. We need to rein in public spending. Capping budget growth to population growth plus inflation will ensure that we have fiscal discipline and curb government waste. We need to cut red tape in Mississippi. We need to eliminate outdated Certificate of Need laws. Repealing a Certificate of Need would help us create a business-friendly environment to spur innovation. We also need to reform public procurement. We need to mandate transparent competitive bidding with regular audits to prevent cronyism and maximize taxpayer value. We need to promote welfare to work. Too many Mississippians aren't working and are living at public expense. We need to emphasize work requirements, job training, and time-limited benefits to foster self-sufficiency and reduce the costs of welfare programs. These reforms are practical policies that lawmakers can implement to improve lives across Mississippi. To explore them in detail, visit our website mspolicy.org, look under publications, or email me carswell@mspolicy.org for a direct link. MCPP has a small but highly productive team. We punch above our weight, producing policy proposals that become law and helping set the agenda at the Capitol. We're able to do all this because we have the input of so many people across our state. Please read our proposals and share your thoughts. I want to hear what you think. For decades, Mississippi exported people. Young people in particular tended to leave our state for places like Atlanta, Nashville, Huntsville, and Austin. The tide is starting to turn. I often hear anecdotes of young people moving back to Mississippi. The data suggests that growth in our state is creating opportunities and drawing people to move here. Have a read of our report and help us build on this momentum.